Alrighty, so today we are plugging another movie into the one-shot movie review system. Today the movie I saw was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, and this is actually my second time seeing this movie because the first time I saw this movie was basically right before I decided to start doing these videos, and I didn't necessarily want to just make a video on it, being a couple days removed. Even though I'm about to do that for the Mario movie, stay tuned for that. But regardless, I'm seeing this movie for the second time. I think it's pretty good, but I'll get into that later on. Today, the logistics around going to the movie theater were the same. It was pretty easy. I got my ticket via the AMC app, walked in, got that shit scanned, and then I got popcorn and an icy again because I was like, how am I not gonna get the green apple flavored icy for the Ninja Turtles movie when that's like literally why they have the flavor, and I've been getting it for all these other movies. But today I mixed it with the wild cherry, and if you're gonna pick between mixing it with the blue or the red, I would definitely stay blue pilled on this one. Just seems to be the better option, tastes better overall. But $17 again for the damn icy and popcorn situation. I just think like the fact that it runs you up that much money just to get the regular popcorn. I know at other locations they have a smaller popcorn size that you can choose. Not at mine apparently, but I'm thinking in the future I'm probably gonna go ahead and bang with the choosing the kids menu thing that's like $8 where you get a little bit of popcorn and some fruit snacks and a drink, rather than going a full-on movie going experience from this point forward, for one thing, because I'm not trying to eat like a ridiculous amount of popcorn every week. I don't know what that would do to my digestive system, but it's definitely not keeping me regular having that much movie theater butter. But that being said, the movie was pretty good. Today there was only 2 other people with me in the theater, and I think this is a moment to kind of address the elephant in the room of like, is it weird to go to movies by yourself? Before I started doing this stuff, I would say definitely, but now that I've done it more than a couple times, it's just like that first mental block of you've done this your whole life going with a group of people or with one other person, and then once you're done with that, it's kind of based to go by yourself if you really want to see something, because you can really lock into the movie and you're not worried about anything else. I really enjoy seeing movies with my girlfriend, but she just didn't want to come for this one, which is understandable, especially it being the second time. She did go for the first one, but yeah, I would just say it's actually not that weird. So if you're like a loner and you really want to see movies and that makes you happy, then just go to the movie theater. Don't stress out about not having somebody to go with. And you may even meet people that are also going by themselves, except, I don't know, the way I am, if somebody else was going by themselves, try to talk to me before or after the movie, I would think that was creepy as fuck. So I guess just, keep that on your radar. But Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. Basically, this film, well, first of all, I'm jumping the gun here. Trailers are all the same, except for, I believe there was one new trailer for some camp movie that looks absolutely garbage. It looks like if you took a Disney Channel style movie and made it by another company and then tried to release it as a full budget film. It's just like the campiness and the cheesiness that goes along with that sort of genre territory just makes me, it just looked wrong to see like a full movie theater trailer for that thing. Like, it really felt like it was supposed to be a TV movie. So maybe I'm just not the demographic, so it makes no sense to me, but I'm not feeling that movie. I'm still not feeling the Marvels movie, not because it's a movie about 3 superheroes, which powers I don't really think are all that cool, but really just because, like, dude, how long do we have to sit through this meta of superhero movies where everybody's throwing quips back and forth, and like any sort of seriousness or emotional note that might be in the film is followed up by like some fucking dumbass joke. Sorry, I'm cursing a lot in this video, but anyway, I just feel like they really need to take a step back on that, because I mean, if I'm thinking about superhero stuff that I'm watching today, even in the saturated market, we just started watching this show Moving on Hulu. That is like a Korean drama that also has superpowered people. That show is awesome. And some of the best parts of the show is really less about the fact that people have powers, but more like the emotional character notes that happen while the series is going on. And it's just like, you know, it's hard for me to care about a Marvel movie in 2023 when they don't care about any of the stakes of the movie themselves. That being said, I haven't watched anything in a long time from it because I'm just kind of sick of it. But that's my take. No need to go on a huge rant, but anyway, the Mighty Patrol Pal whatever movie actually looks pretty good. Again, still. But the one thing that, dude, what is it about animation specifically for like toddler to early elementary school aged kids that they make all of the human characters look insanely like uncanny valley sort of territory? And I don't know what it is, but it's just sometimes creepy. Like I can't figure out if it's like low budget or if it's high budget gone the wrong way. But that's just another side note, I guess. But anyway, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem opens up to a video of Seth Rogan saying thank you for coming to the movies and that he really enjoyed writing this Turtles film or whatever. I think that was kind of interesting because I thought, you know, when I saw it opening weekend and it had that little thing in the beginning, I was like, oh, okay, this is like for the fans or whatever. But then seeing it a second time, I'm kind of like, do they have a gun pointed at him from behind the camera? The dude is like serious as hell for no reason in that. But hopefully it was not some weird studio thing they're trying to do over at Paramount, like thank everybody before the movies or whatever. But, you know, it was just weird the second time around. But maybe I'm not supposed to see it twice. I don't know. But yeah, so that happened. But to get into the movie itself, this Turtles film is a brand new version of the Turtles universe where Splinter is not the previous pet of some ninja type dude who has a grudge against Shredder from abroad, but instead is just a rat that happened to have found the turtles when they were in the ooze and then raised them as being their father, and along the way realized that they needed to learn self-defense. And they have like kind of a really funny part in the movie where the way that they learned self-defense was from like at-home videos and YouTube, and then like different VHS tapes and stuff like that, which is kind of interesting because, you know, if you did that, if you watched some VHS tape like that for like 10 years and studied it every day and did the moves, I feel like you wouldn't be that bad. Because, I mean, in Baki, one of the things about the karate guys is that they always talk about how karate is all about doing repetitions over and over again and like, you know, like strengthening your kumite and stuff like that. It seems plausible. It was kind of fun. But the other piece of this is that instead of the ooze being this ominous thing and then mutants kind of coming in later, this whole movie starts out talking about the mutants because of the absence of sort of that whole Shredder villain and stuff like that, and the Foot Clan and all that. So what the background is that this one scientist created the ooze, and his first creation was this fly that is later voiced by Ice Cube, which is kind of funny. But then this fly, along with all of the other test subjects that he had before he eventually gets kind of his lab broken into and all that, they all escape with the fly the night that happens, and the extra ooze that had just been completed falls down a grate and hits the turtles, and that's how the turtles kind of get involved in it. But that sort of creates the existence of all these other mutants that grow up with the Superfly character, and that's sort of your backdrop, where this is a story about how these mutants want to have they want to live amongst humans because they would like to feel accepted. And right now, if they were to go out in public, people just scream and point at them and try to kill them. They have a funny joke in this movie about them trying to milk them for their blood, and then it ends up happening. But regardless, the two sides of the story are like, you've got Master Splinter and the turtles, and they kind of do their own thing and hang out in the sewers and try to stay out of the humans' ways. But Master Splinter is scared and hates humans. And then the other side of this coin is like Superfly and all his mutants want to create a device that will create a bunch of mutants and make every animal on the planet a mutant. And then that way, humans will no longer be the most dominant species, and they'll be subjugated to, whatever crazy stuff they can come up with. So that's kind of like the whole setup. One other thing I like about this movie is that April's character is completely different in this one. She's like a normal kind of like high school student, reporter person who's trying to be accepted in her own right, instead of typically it's like a tall, white, red-haired woman that has an apartment that they visit all the time, and she gives them pizza and stuff like that. I kind of like this take of April, especially because it fits so well, and using her as a plot device to sort of tie the knot in places where otherwise it wouldn't have made sense. Like towards the end of the movie, there's something that she does to help the turtles' reputation as all the stuff is kind of cascading. All the effects of the battle is going on. I'm trying not to like spoil it or anything, but and then that kind of shows that this new take on her character is pretty interesting, and as much as it doesn't really change much about her role in the story, it was a cool new take on it, I feel like. Another thing I want to talk about that was pretty cool was Jackie Chan as Master Splinter, as like an old dad sort of thing, was hilarious. And just the way that he was doing the voice acting was pretty funny. And some of the things that they sprinkle in to kind of be the little funny joke type scenes were pretty clever. So I like the writing in this movie a lot. And then the turtles themselves were written like almost perfectly as to what you would think, given the age that they're supposed to be at the time, and then like the diversification of their personalities and stuff like that. I thought that was very cool. They did definitely grift a little bit with the amount of references that they were trying to squeeze in through Donatello's character, but at the same time, anytime that, you're going to have the character put on a sweatshirt that definitely has the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure logo, you got me. I'm sold. Like, I was happy with it. So I'm a sucker for that, But without spoiling the movie, because I do think it was actually a really good movie, and if you think about it as Nickelodeon trying to take their own step into, I actually got on the ground here, take their own step into making a movie like this. I think they did it. They didn't use the exact same style of animation. I think it was a little bit different, and you could definitely see where they saved some money. Like the second time around watching this, I could see where they just had traditional sort of CG animation when the turtles were farther away, but they never used it in a way where I would have noticed if I wasn't now, like, second time seeing the movie, noticing it because I'm looking harder. Like, for example, there are some ways that you would use it that's impossible to miss. You just don't understand why people would do it. Like with the most recent episode of Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2, when they flipped to doing a lot of CG, probably trying to save money after the previous episode, it's just like, I just don't understand how they would do that because it's so jarring compared to the normal way to do it. But they handled it very well in the way that they did it in this Turtles movie. And I think that the way that they did the animation style is like distinctly Nickelodeon somehow. I can't describe why I feel that way, but it does. It has like a Nickelodeon tint to it in a way. And I think that's kind of cool that they accomplished that, like me thinking that. But all in all, to not really spoil anything, I think the movie is solid, the writing's solid, the way that things unfold are quick enough that you don't feel like it's happening too fast, and they're realistic enough that it doesn't feel like they use anything cheesy to push the plot forward. And I honestly, I'm seeing it for the second time and I wanted to see it again, so that has to mean something. So if I'm thinking about plugging it into where you should see the movie, I think that if you are interested in seeing a Ninja Turtles movie, if you're like me where you have at least some interest in the Ninja Turtles from when you were a kid, and you're not a fan of what's been happening to them recently with that Michael Bay trash, this is the movie that you would have wanted if you want to be like thank God they're bringing the Turtles back the right way. Even though it doesn't check all the boxes insofar as it is not a direct sort of pull from the source material, I think that this is a great new take on it. And if I had to see the Turtles done again, I'm glad that they did it this way. The only thing I don't really understand is how they're going to have another movie following the ending of this one. So it may just be a one-shot, but I think it was pretty good. So I would say definitely see it in theaters if you're into a Turtles movie. If you're not, then just wait to see it at home, because as much as I could try to convince you, unless you are going to be somebody that's just into seeing like a cute movie, you may just want to wait for this one. But I definitely think it was worth it, and I really liked it. So I would say it's definitely worth seeing in theaters if that resonates with you. If not, just wait to see it at home. But I wouldn't skip this one. Even if you have no interest in the Turtles whatsoever, I think you would be pleasantly surprised about just, either the aesthetic of this movie or the writing is actually pretty clever versus some of these other superhero type of things. So for that reason, I would say you should go see it. But if I'm plugging it into the 5-star system, I have to think about, I did see the movie twice. I think it does what a lot of superhero movies are kind of failing to do recently, and the direction and the way that I guess it's just called the direction. In my head, I want to say cinematography, but it's all animated. But the way that the scenes are laid out and storyboarded, you can tell that somebody actually tried to make things not only just funny within the writing, but also in the way that they're portrayed on screen. And I appreciate that a lot. I think you see that in a lot of animation that tries to do things the right way, is that shot for shot, the direction is almost always better than something live action, just because you have to go through the thought process of actually drawing or understanding how all of these slides of animation fit together versus hitting record or what have you. Not to say they obviously storyboard for movies that are live action, but you get what I'm saying. I really think they nailed it. Obviously, this is not like some crazy next level, Christopher Nolan type film or something like that. But I think as far as a fun movie to watch and see, and the way that the whole movie comes together, as far as like the sum of its parts, I think that I will give this movie a solid 4. I don't know if everybody would agree with me on that, but I personally feel like this movie was a lot of fun, and so I'll give it the 4. So to recap, I'd say go see it in theaters if you like the Turtles. If you like the animation style movie, you like Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, I think Nickelodeon nailed it. I don't know to what degree everybody had a hand in it, but you know, Seth Rogan nailed it as well, if he was the main driving force on some of that writing. And I just really enjoyed my time. I mean, I saw it twice, so see it in theaters. It gets a 4. That's the video. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem.